there's a massive opportunity to make life-changing gains in this crypto bull run. But instead of following the herd, I'm going to show you how to get ahead of the pack. Yeah, it's true. The Ethereum ETF just popped off. And while everybody is looking over there, I'm going to show you where the real money is going to flow into to make these life-changing gains. And it's probably not where you might expect, or maybe it is, but we're going to explore that ecosystem in today's video. And at the end of the show, guys, I'm going to show you some juicy, degenerate, low cap altcoins. Well, one in particular that you probably don't want to miss because it might have the opportunity to make it to millions of its fans. Yep, millions. All right, guys, if that sounds good to you, let's dive into it without further ado. What's up? My name is Chasse. If you don't know me, I've been in crypto for 12 years, and my goal with this channel is to help you make as much money as humanly possible in this crypto bull run. But with that being said, nothing I say in this is financial advice. Everything in this is what I'm doing with my own personal capital. That's my personal capital, not the money I manage for other LPs or partners in master ventures. So anyway, let's get into it. So how's Bitcoin doing? Well, it's range bound, like I said it was going to be. And one thing I want to point out to you guys, though, is that we are now essentially 95 days post halving, right? And so how long is this going to last? Well, I've always said that we're probably somewhere in the tune of like 120 to 150 days before I think we really start to head up, right? That's what I've been telling you guys this whole time. And if you look back here in the last cycle from the halving, which was May 11th, before we started this outward trajectory breakup past this range bound kind of area, it was about 163 days. And we're about, we're getting up on that point right now. So I think that we're getting quite close to this, but actually for me, like I've told you guys for a long time now, my theory was essentially just to be very, very careful for these next 3.5, 4 weeks. Now, that all could change this week with the order of events that we've talked about before. Trump speaking at Bitcoin Nashville, that kind of thing, the uncertainty clearing out. We'll talk more about that in today's video. But what you see ahead of me is a break in the streak of net inflows in the Bitcoin ETF. As yesterday, we had the first net outflow of 78 million. Now, why is that? For me, I think since you see BitShares over here at 70 million out, which is unlikely for them or not normal, but they had a huge day, and we'll get to that in a bit, on Ethereum. And so my guess is this is just par for the course, as maybe some of their investors said, hey, I'm going to allocate 5% of my portfolio to crypto, and they put that 5% into Bitcoin ETF at first. And then they said, hey, ETH is coming out. Okay, cool. Let me take half of that or a third of that and put it into ETH. That's likely what happened here. So I don't see this as a negative. I just see this as money transferring over, and we'll show you that as we get to the ETH ETF flows in a bit here. But also you had Mt. Gox, $2.8 billion worth of Bitcoin went to new address. And as you can see from the Arkham chart over here, we're down from 9 billion to just under 6 billion. So the Mt. Gox dilemma is it's getting out of the way. Like, this is so relieving because for 10 years, we've had this Mt. Gox like just hanging over us, like just this thing that we didn't want to deal with. And yes, it's uncomfortable. And yes, it will pass. And yes, we're dealing with it right now. But it's not that bad. As you can see, I mean, we're doing okay, right? We're doing okay over here. I mean, this is when ETH ETF started trading. I thought we would pull back. We pulled back a little tiny bit, but we're doing pretty good over here, guys. I mean, we're not in deep, dirty, dark waters yet, right? So how did the ETH ETF do? Well, as you guys can see over here, we had a net inflow of $106 million. There was over $1 billion in trading volume on the ETH ETF on the first day of trading, which just outperforms most ETFs in the world. And as you can see, as expected, Grayscale was unloading almost $500 million. And they did pick up in their mini trust, $15 million from the mini trust. But as expected, there was a large amount coming out from people who decided to take that trade. And a big day for BlackRock, pretty big for Fidelity, really big for Bitwise, surprising $204 million from Bitwise coming into the ETH ETF. They must be very bullish on ETH. And as you can see from the ETH chart over here, like, it's not that bad, but we do see today on the daily, it is a red day, a second day in a row, and we saw that over here, so it's really not as bad as a lot of people maybe were wondering. And that's kind of what we've been talking about, right? We talk about like, maybe it's not going to be as bad because of the lessons learned from Bitcoin and everything that we've been talking about on this channel. And I don't think we're going to see massively sell off, but I do think we're going to see continuing to chop as we have to clear out the uncertainty. We have to clear that out. Now, the one thing that could really change that is Trump's speech on Saturday at Bitcoin Nashville. If he decides to say that they're going to make a strategic reserve for Bitcoin, the strategic reserve doesn't mean a currency reserve. Strategic reserve means something like the SPR, which is in America, which is a strategic petroleum reserve, which essentially means it's an asset class that is held by the country in case of emergencies, right? And in case it needs it for something, which is still great. But it's not like the US dollar will be backed by Bitcoin or anything like that. But that news alone could send ripples through other countries and have a big impact on price. But for me, I'm holding on tight, still looking for new opportunities, but I'm not going, I don't think we're going to break this anytime soon. Me personally, if we do, great. If we don't, I'm kind of expecting that. Another range bound for another 30, 45 days. After that, that's when I think that we're going to make our move up, in about 30, 45 days. And this chart right here shows you what Ethereum chart would look like if it copied exactly the performance and timeline of Bitcoin ETF starting to trade. And you can see here as we zoom in, this is where the real chart is, and this is where this guy has drawn it in and saying, if this exactly happens like Bitcoin did, this is what the chart would look like. So if you're looking at this and you're a smart investor, you've got smart asset managers helping you out to understand, do you really want to sell right here? Sure, you can maybe try to make this trade and sell here and buy back here and then ride it all the way up, but there's no guarantee it's going back down here again. So you might as well just hold, chill, and wait until it goes back up and skyrockets up past 5K, and probably not that long, right? And everything that people have been expecting, like Seyfarth and Balkunis, saying that, the ETH ETF was probably gonna be somewhere between 20, 25% of what Bitcoin does, that was very accurate. And as you can see here, Jeff Dorman says that in BlackRock's prospectus, they say that utility, Ethereum is utility, and they call it something like an app store, right? So that's how they're describing it to the mainstream, is that Ethereum, Bitcoin is digital gold, and Ethereum is the digital app store, Google Play or Apple App Store, whatever. Seems to make quite a bit of sense. Coinbase, if you guys are looking for something, I own Coinbase shares and stock, not because I would have bought it in the secondary market, but because I was an investor in Coinbase back in like 2017 or 16 or something like that. So then when it went public, obviously I got shares in that. But if you are someone who dabbles in the stock market, Coinbase, it would be the one thing that I think I would definitely be participating in. Now, I'm not buying more Coinbase stock, me personally, but if you are, that's probably the one thing that you would want to participate in, as the chart is looking very good. And additionally, over here, Citigroup said that they expect, since there's decreased regulatory risk from SEC dropping their lawsuit, that they expect the price to rise 33% in Coinbase stock to $345 from currently sitting at about $265. So that's a good play, and I would agree with that because Coinbase is the net beneficiary of all these ETFs happening, as Coinbase is the main custody for everything. And Coinbase is just going to explode, right? They have such a good reputation. They haven't had any serious events like negative consequences, security breaches or anything, and they're expanding on a global level here very soon. So very bullish Coinbase in general. And as you can see, another revenue driver, launching the Base network was a very good decision for them. As you can see, they've generated more money than any other Ethereum layer 2 ever. They're generating in 2024 so far, and because it's not decentralized, because they're running the sequencer on their L2, they've actually earned $42.6 million in fees running the network so far, and that goes directly back to Coinbase, which is kind of crazy. So OSF over here says there is a path this week where ETH ETF flows are good and ETH rips above 4K. I don't think so, but that is a possibility for sure. New all-time highs for ETH memes, Pepe, Mog, including Mog. I don't think so either. Sol already shown its hand the last few days and joins the rally. Sol memes take a crazy leg higher. We're starting to see that today. BTC rallies into Trump's Bitcoin Nashville conference. And Kaito, as you can see over here, something that I use quite often, saying that basically, even though you've got in the 7-day mind share here, even though ETH ETF is all the news, Solana, when it comes to the mind share, is still at 42%, while ETH is at 58%. So it's still pretty much neck and neck, right? Solana and ETH. And as you can see, if you look at the Solana chart, so this is the Solana to ETH chart, well, it actually looks much like a meme coin that you want to see. And I'll show you an example of one later. That chart looks very much like this, actually, you know? And what happens is Solana to ETH dominance, or essentially Solana ETH, did really, really well at first, took off, crushed, and then bam, 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 capitulated, and then found some price discovery, hit rock bottom, and now is skyrocketing up. This is the kind of chart that you want to see. These are the kind of charts that blow your mind. This is like the whiff chart and everything else, where it comes down, bam, follows that line, breaks through here, comes up, and goes all the time. So, you know, so right now, if you were sitting in Sol versus ETH, you'd be up a lot. Same thing over here. It shows Sol dominance and Ethereum dominance. You can see this yellow line is Sol dominance climbing in a positive direction, while ETH dominance seems to be dropping or a negative direction on the chart. And as you can see, that Sol is now, according to Tushar, Sol is now at parity with Ethereum on most key metrics. We can see here the 30-day DEX volume, ETH and Sol head to head, and market share actually just hit parity, which is insane for ETH and Sol. And top chains by market share, you can see ETH and Sol are neck and neck, with Sol just taking the lead right now, which is actually insane. And you can see this is a funny meme over here where you see Anatoly versus Vitalik, the two founders of Solana and ETH. Here's Anatoly doing some squats, and the alien, Vitalik. One of the things, you know, about the reason that ETH could be pulling back right now is just what I told you guys. It's this. It's the discount to NAV, right? And so people took the trade. People took the trade all the way back here when it was like negative 50%. You could have gotten ETH for 50% off back here in June, and even more, up to 60% back in November 2022. And even more recently, you still could have got a 25% off the retail price, knowing that the ETH ETF might be coming around the corner quite soon. And people are taking profits on that trade. But what's more interesting to look at is the ETH. This is the Grayscale Ethereum Trust, trading at a discount to spot price. However, if you look at GSOL, which is a Grayscale Solana Trust, trading at $507 per share. No, that's not 507 per Solana, but Jason over here did the math for us and says market price to share is 524.49. NAV per share is $68. So if you're paying $524 for $68 worth of Solana, so basically what he did is it means it's a 7.5 to 1. So people are paying 7.5x essentially, or 1371 for one Solana, paying for it in an institutional level on the Grayscale Trust. Now, this isn't a great thing to reflect like actual institutional demand, because in the entire Solana Grayscale Trust, there's only $83 million. But it does show you that people, institutions, are willing to pay a premium versus before, where you had the discount on Ethereum, where people weren't willing to pay even the spot price. They wanted to pay a discount on it. So what does that show you? It shows you that there's demand and interest in Solana. What is also interesting here is Bob over here says the Sol and BTC chart still looks pretty much a standout of the year 4, which again, similar to the Solana chart or the Solana ETH chart, Bitcoin and Solana also very, very similar chart where Solana is looking incredibly bullish. Now, I always make the criticism here where saying that Solana is not something that, you know, institutions are going to trust with a lot of their money. And that has been true thus far. However, this news from Solana Floor says breaking big. $900 billion asset manager Hamilton Lane becomes the first asset manager to launch a fund on the Solana blockchain. Now, I don't have more information on this. It looks like you can come down here and click the link if you want to go check it out for yourself, Solana Floor. But they did open an institutional fund, just like BlackRock opened their Biddle fund on Ethereum. It does seem that some institutions are exploring what it might be like to use Solana, and I don't blame them because the user experience is so much better on Solana than it is on Ethereum. Now, you guys have probably seen this chart that I made before, and I'm going to throw a link to this in the comments below, but this is just for you guys' reference. I'm going to keep it down below, a link so you can check it out. These are kind of the projects that I'm the most bullish on at the moment. We've talked about many of these on the channel here. I just want to remind you the ones that they are. You know, when it comes to Solana, with Popcat, Ponky, Billy, Bonk, Jupiter, and IONET. We've talked about all those before. Now, I see your comments, and a lot of people are sick of talking about meme coins, but I think what you guys want from this channel is you guys want to make money, right? And so we have to go where attention is right now, and attention is in the meme coin space. And so a really important lesson for us to remember is this.
Times when I was doing Jack that I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. Oh, yeah. Damn. In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah.
To be moronical.
Exactly. To be a moron.
An imbecile.
Yeah.
Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
When I was playing the character.
When you was a character?
Yeah, I mean, as Jack, definitely.
Yeah, Jack. Stupid ass Jack.
By the end of the whole thing, I was like, wait a minute, you know?
You have to understand that, look, I don't love talking about meme coins, but I do like making money. And I think that you guys probably do as well. And you have to lower your IQ a little bit, but it's not really lowering your IQ. You're actually, don't look at it like that. Lower your IQ in order to assess a meme coin. But what you're really doing is looking at things from a high IQ, understanding or knowing where the audience is looking at. And so with that being said, we are going to talk a little bit about the meme coin space right now in mostly the Solana ecosystem, but it's not just that one. This is the ecosystem I was talking about though in the title of the video. And Ryder over here says, there's no way they're going to let us get away with it again, right? Talking about Billy and Whiff. You guys know I called Billy very, very early. And this chart looking very similar to the Whiff chart before it broke out and went to Valhalla as well. And as you can see right now, you got a nice little pullback on Billy as it was up to 2.23 cents or $230 million. And now it's sitting at 176 valuation. So not a bad time to come into something that has shown a lot of strength. It's been in the market now for about 5 weeks. So it's definitely not a rug. You can see liquidity, high liquidity, $4.6 million liquidity in this thing right now, and doing quite good volume as well. I think it's about $18 million trading volume today, which is very, very bullish. Now you can see cat season continues, Pop Cat and Cat and a Dog World, or MEW, MEW, both looking primed to break out and go in price discovery. This is the cat section on CoinGecko. You can see the different cats by market cap, and you've got Pop Cat, Mog, Cat and a Dog's World, Michi, Purr, etc., etc. And we told you about all these. Popcat, I called it very, very low as well. Mog, not into Mog yet. And wow, look at this. This is why. So you have Cat and a Dog World right now, 90% today, up to 660 million. Why? Well, that's the kimchi premium, my friends. Apparently it was listed on Upbit. And when the Koreans can get a hold of something, they just go absolutely wild, and pumped it 90% today. I would be looking for a nice pullback here from a 90% pump. Let's see. It actually pulled back. This is a 24-hour chart. Looks like it went all the way up here. And you do have a nice little pullback from earlier. However, it still seems pretty. Let's take a look at the chart here. Okay, so this is the 15-minute. Let's check out the 4-hour chart. Yeah, so you can see that you had this from the listing on Upbit. Bam, pumped up. Nice little correction, dip, correction, and this is probably going to form over here a higher low. So I do expect that this thing bounce off of, the last low was here. This thing's probably going to start. This is probably the local low, and I expect to send it higher from here. So if I'm looking at this right now, this looks like a good buying point to me right now, and it's proven strength, resilience. And this thing is going to send, sitting at a $660 million market cap right now. It is still much, much lower than a lot of other meme coins. This thing's probably going to, 5-10 billion in this bull run is my guess. That's just my guess, not financial advice, not promising anything. Could go to zero, very well could go to zero. Here is the meme coin super cycle. It is a meme coin race. You can go to memecoinrace.xyz and see how all the memes are stacking up against each other. However, they're missing some of them that I like very much. And Gold Blooded Chiller says, again, like I told you guys before, Popcat looking good for another run up, the leg up. It did hit $1 billion and bounced off of it. But look at this, guys. Remember last time I made the video and talked about MEW, or Cat and a Dog World? I drew this chart for you guys, and look exactly how it's breaking out from where I drew the chart. So if you were watching this last time and you look at this and you look at this chart and found that it was a good buying opportunity right here, because I think last time we talked about it was like right here or something like that. But it formed exactly like I said it was going to do, right on the line there, and broke out exactly as it was supposed to. And this is kind of the chart that you want to see for meme coins too. You want to see the ones that come real strong, great good virality, and then all of the early investors, founders, whatever, the guys, the sniping bots, they take profits up here, boom, crash the chart down. There's maybe a second rally of people who believe it's a good purchase to buy, bam, more profits taken. And then you see this kind of eventual consolidation phase that happens for a long, long time that follows this pattern. Almost every single meme coin follows this exact same thing. where you kind of see this descending triangle and breaking out when these things cross up to the upside. And now this thing can go on proper price discovery, looking to smash through all-time highs over here. When it does, when it decisively breaks through here, this level, this 0.009, 0.001, or 0.01 section, that's probably when it sends much higher. My bet is pretty bullish on that. And Leo over here says, this chart is very reminiscent of Pepe earlier this year. Probably going to pull multiples, very effing quality once this breaks. I don't deny it. Now, what is this low cap that we talked about before? So Lil Bub, you guys might know him. Most people who like cats and animals are probably following this account. 2.4 million followers on Instagram. This is Lil Bub. You can see it's a little cute cat whose tongue is almost always out. And what I noticed today was something quite interesting. So I just kind of looking around, doing some research, trying to find, what might be some new alpha. And this is Lil Bub's account, the official one, not the meme coin, but the official one, 803,000 there, 2.4 million on Instagram. So you can see this Lil Bub Soul community is the one where they actually sent a donation into the official Lil Bub's foundation. And Lil Bub actually wrote back and said, 5K is an incredibly generous donation. We are incredibly moved. Anyone can donate cash or crypto at this. And so one, I like to see projects that are actually donating to a good cause, like helping animals and animal shelters, and like Nine Meme Cat was doing before. So I'm very, very supportive of this. But the most interesting thing is it seems like, usually when you see a meme coin that rips off the IP from the founder, it's not a good situation where the founder is, or the owner of that pet or IP is not even rewarded or doesn't buy into that. But in this situation, it looks like this guy, Little Bub account, is more than happy to participate. So my guess is that there's some relationship potentially building between the actual real Lil Bub and the community takeover, the meme coin for Little Bub as well. This is the website. Look, cute Little Bub over here. And how is it doing on the charts right now? Well, you can see I went in and bought some here, and this is what the chart looks like. So don't ape into this thing necessarily. Just know that I just want to let you guys know that I decided to, not saying that you should go buy this thing or anything like that, but for me, I'm curious. It's sitting at below $30 million market cap. Let's see if I refresh the page of what it's actually at, but it's at a below $30 million fully diluted valuation right now, or at 30. And, it seems to have some good strength. It's got 2,400 followers, holders right now. So it's early. It's very, very risky, guys, much riskier than other things, but, you got to be willing to take some risks from time to time. And because you can see the 24-hour traders is growing by a lot, 200%. It's just interest is coming into here. It's the right direction that we want to see momentum into a project. And for that reason, I decided to buy a bag. Now, it's not a huge bag yet, and I want to continue to watch this and see if we continue to see the numbers on the wallet holders go up, if we continue to see more traction, then I'll increase my position as time goes on. Now, the last piece of news I want to share with you guys today is Brett. And of course, not Solana, but Brett is sponsoring the E1 in Monaco, which is, I think the electric boats or something like that. It's good to see something like Brett being mainstream, now actually starting to come out and put their logo everywhere, which is sponsoring a pretty big race where a lot of, I'm not sure if that's going to actually pay off, but I think all this kind of marketing publicity stuff, it gets attention, right? It gets attention. Maybe this gets written up in Forbes or something like that, or who knows, but this is the kind of stuff that you want to do. It's like publicity, right? Publicity that you want to do. And eventually that makes it across the interwebs and, becomes a big brand and a name. All right, guys. If you like this video, make sure that you watch this one over here, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.